Hello, my YouTube friends. It's Richard, founder of Short-Term Rental University and Airbnb Superhost. As you know, on Mondays, we like to talk about things outside of Airbnb exclusively. We try and talk about things that are perhaps motivating or entrepreneurial or just thoughts that are on my mind. We try and broaden it out. And on today's video, I want to talk about removing emotion from business decisions. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and without further ado, let's get started. Look, I recognize what I'm about to say may sound obvious, and it kind of is. You've probably heard it before, but actually doing something about it, that's difficult work, and there you may not have done something. I know it's taken me a lot of time and effort to remove my emotion from business decisions because it's challenging. I've spent time, I've spent energy, I may have committed resources, I may have paid for certain fees and permits and overnight mail or whatever, and so the path of least resistance is to keep trying to persevere. And we probably should do a film on perseverance and the importance of that, but let's focus right now on removing emotion from business decisions. And the reason I encourage that is to recognize what your goal is. So your goal may change during the course of events, or it may stay the same, but the circumstances around the deal or the deal terms or the business decision may impact how you feel about it at that point in time, and therefore it's important to be able to pivot or adjust or whatever in order to meet your goals. So let me give you a couple of examples. I think most of you know I'm in the process of moving to Jackson Hole. I put down a reservation back in September on a place, sight unseen, brand new construction, one of the very few places that allows short-term rentals in Jackson, and so I put down a reservation. I flew out to Jackson to check it out. I loved the location. There was so many things about it that I liked that I fell in love with it. And so the path of least resistance was to buy that. However, there was delays. Everything just seemed to be taking longer and longer, and I wasn't getting satisfactory answers. And I asked more questions, and I pushed hard, and I persevered, and I did all of that, but I wasn't moving the needle. There was nothing I could do to make that happen. And so at a certain point, I said, it's time for me to start looking at alternatives. I don't want to sit here and wait forever for them to figure it out. I want to start looking at alternatives. And that was a very sound decision. It was difficult because now I had to invest more time, more energy, fly back out to Jackson, look at other places, and do things that I wouldn't have to do if I just stuck with my original decision and my original reservation. But in doing so, I opened up my mind, I thought about what I wanted to do and what my goals were, and I found an actually superior place that I'm now in contract, and I'm pumped that I made the difficult decision to open my mind and potentially walk away. Now, I got my reservation money back, so that helped. That was easier to walk away, but there was countless hours, negotiations, fees, lawyers, brokers. I mean, there was a ton invested in that deal going through, and then I just walked away. So remove emotion for the right reasons to get to your goal. And another example I'm going to give you is, on a much smaller scale, I'm going to not talk about the specifics other than to say we were scheduled to do an expert interview with somebody who's very knowledgeable in an area around Airbnb. We were doing this for our master class, our MBA class at Short-Term Rental University, and for all intents and purposes, he was a no-show. He showed up and then he left. And so it left us high and dry, and we were standing around, on this Facebook Live trying to make the best of the situation. It turned out it was fine. We spoke to everybody and answered questions, but it was really embarrassing and inappropriate, highly unprofessional. And there was a lot of emotion. Some of our members were upset about it, and Charles and I were embarrassed, and it just, we had confirmed and reconfirmed and sent calendar invites and done everything, and it just didn't work, and the emotions were flying high. And so Charles and I tried to figure out, well, what do we do? How do we save the day? What do we do with the content? When do we reschedule? What's the next plan? And I turned to Charles, and we were both heated. We were both upset. And I said, you know what? Let's remove emotion. Let's sleep on it. We'll resume the conversation tomorrow when we have a little more clarity, we have a little more time under our belts, and we'll make the right decision tomorrow. We don't need to act right now in the heat of the moment. And I think that was really helpful, just taking that time out and saying, stop, filled with emotion, not the best time to make a decision. Let's pause and we'll revisit it tomorrow. And that worked really well. So again, I think it's really obvious what I'm suggesting, but I think the actual implementation, the practice of it, walking away from a deal or pausing or asking for a timeout, Really important, has helped me tremendously. I hope you find this helpful, and if you do, please go ahead and like the video. Comment below, what else do you do to remove emotion from your business deals? What deals have you walked away from? Again, I really encourage these comments because, one, we reply, we read them, and so do other people, and that encourages them to reply. And the more people that have deals, opportunities, ideas, suggestions, the more we all learn. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't, and until next time, happy hosting.